My son has been grieving because even though he did what he felt he had to do, and he said if he was in the same situation, he'd do it again, he chose to protect his troops.
Here on Fox and Friends, the heartbroken mother of Army Lieutenant Clint Lorance says her son was sent to jail for simply protecting his troops, which was his duty. Back in 2012, as three men approached Lorance's platoon on motorcycles, he gave the order to engage. They opened fire. Two of the three men were killed. The Army said those men did not have ties to terror, so Lieutenant Lorance went to prison to serve a 20-year sentence. His attorneys are accusing Army lawyers of withholding crucial evidence of the men's terror connections. And now thousands of people are petitioning the White House to pardon Lorance, and even members of Congress are calling for a new trial. Joining us right now, Fox News legal analyst Peter Johnson Jr., who brought us his story initially.
Good morning, Steve. And if Lieutenant Lorance and his lawyers are right, this is one of the greatest railroadings in history of an American fighting man. They are now saying in a modification petition to General Clark, the commanding officer, that, quote, the prosecution argued in closing that there's no suggestion that the alleged victims were Taliban. As it turns out, there is a good bit suggesting that they are associated with terror. This is legal error. The law requires a new trial. And that's right. There's Supreme Court precedent that says if you withhold evidence, Brady material,
sure,
what's called exculpatory evidence leading the jury to believe that you're not guilty of the crime, then you get a new trial. And what they've done, Steve, is expose new evidence that they say the Army had, the Defense Department had, and they failed to turn over as to terror ties.
And that's the troubling part. Apparently there was evidence, and we've got information we're going to put up on the screen. One man killed was a co-conspirator to a man serving a 20-year sentence for IED attacks in Afghanistan. The man Lorance was convicted for attempting to engage is linked to an IED event in August 2012 in Kandahar. And the guy the Criminal Investigation Division interviewed was incarcerated in Afghanistan and is linked to 4 separate IED events. Peter, when we last talked about this, we were looking to help this man get clemency. That didn't happen. What's left?
What's left is a new petition, a modification to General Clark, the commanding officer. And then if that doesn't work, go to the Court of Appeals, the Criminal Court of Appeals, Military Court of Appeals. Also, there's a petition that has gone up now to the White House, and they have about 80,000 or so signatures at this point, petitioning the president to look at this particular issue. Obviously, this is not a cut-and-dried issue. There are some soldiers that say that Lieutenant Lorance was out of control, he was overzealous, and that the decision to fire on these Afghanis was inappropriate and wrong and resulting in this conviction. Lieutenant Lorance and his lawyers saying the jury never heard that these people who actually were involved with firing were given immunity. The jury was never told that. The jury was never told about the terror ties. And what they've done is put together this quite impressive dossier of appendices showing the terror connections that the Defense Department knew of 5 of the 7 people involved with this incident.
Peter, it's cut and dried. The government withheld evidence that his lawyers say would have exonerated
the
him.
Lowest lowlife, the biggest dirtbag in America, is entitled to the constitutional protections afforded by the U.S. Constitution. Why shouldn't a lieutenant who spent 10 years fighting for America be entitled to those same protections? We don't know whether he's innocent or guilty, but give this man a fair trial.
All right. You just mentioned that somewhere in the neighborhood of 80,000 people have signed up. If you would like to help this guy, go to whitehouse.gov and sign the petition for Mr. Lorance.
Thanks so much, Steve.
All right.
Good to see you.
Peter Johnson Jr., thank you.